Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have another 1v1 between Akumar and Raider. So Akumar here starting off as Armada. And Raider on the opposite hand is going Cortex. And as we zoom on out, let's have a look at both players' start position. So Raider is going bots, Akumar is also going bots. As we zoom out here, we can see that Akumar is in a very different position from Raider. Akumar has positioned himself here that if he does build a single LLT, that should defend this entire side, and well, in the early game at least, and then gives him good expansion opportunities behind to get those mexes, but that also then does leave these mexes relatively open to attack. There's no factory here pumping out units to defend like Raider has, but it does mean from this position Akumar is closer to the center, and he is also closer to this side here that Raider might not be expecting him to be that far forward. So that may give an advantage if Raider openly expands to the right. However, saying that, what we normally see is over here, and literally we could just see it queued up there, is players will build defenses here and kind of stop. They won't really move along, and then we can actually see Raider's got a wall planned just there. It's an interesting choice, really, because there's no reason not to push further forward, especially with the Geo here. I mean, you could build a wall here and there. But I guess they would be able to bombard you. But yeah, a Raider up here would also provide excellent vision for Raider of incoming attacks from Akumar. But no, he's happy to defend further back. And some early scouts have arrived, but not able to inflict any damage as there is plenty of grunts about. Made a very heavy on the defense in this early game, with all of these grunts just positioning basically to block the ticks from doing anything. Now with Raider's start position, he is in a pretty much what's now known as one of the normal spots for this map. It's been pretty well established. Oh, the tick almost manages to get something, but a bit late. Yeah, this is one of the normal spots. Either there or here, you'll often see. I kind of feel like this one provides you with metal sooner because this third metal point is closer. Whereas the one where Raider is stood now is closer to the front and is more of a better position in terms of, you know, being able to contest the map. Because as you can see here, with all this defensive play that Raider's been doing, Raider has been already forced into his base. And the units of Akumar are positioning just outside Raider's base. Basically meaning that for now, Akumar is free to expand without much pressure at all. What's the question mark there? Grunts have smaller range. The pawns have smaller range, rather. He's now applying some pressure up the north Akumar, heading over towards that LLT. Those pawns somewhat mismanaged there, trying to go in on against a very, very superior number of grunts, and will all get killed. Bad pathing, that's how. He sent his pawns like this, whereas Raider sent his units like this. So they just caught up. That is how. Pawn family makes it to safety with Akumar's commander. But these guys along the top are not really going to be able to do much here, as there are way too many grunts and an LRT there for defense. Now, Raider is doing the smart thing here with the bot lab. There's so much energy as we actually zoom out here. There's a new Reclaim kind of thing that shows 6.3k energy reclaim there. Oh, but with the Centurion out, that completely stops those grunts. And along the top side, 3 pawns versus 4 grunts do not make a favorable trade for Akumar. Oh, but well played, managing to bait in the grunts and get a surround on them. But little does he know, there's even more grunts coming. And the pawns just get absolutely destroyed. 250 metal in this north side, plus, you know, a little bit extra here and there. So probably equaling over 350 metal just on this north side. And there is already a Khan up here with a Resbot just behind. That's a fairly decent amount of metal in this early game. Meanwhile, we see Raider here is sending a small task force of grunts to the 7th side to attack. There is only 2 pawns making their way across there so far. Bit of an open opportunity. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, pawns are not trading favorably at all to these grunts in the skirmishing style that they're going for. Grunts are by far superior at skirmishing, so just with their added range, they're able to shoot things at a longer distance. And if the pawns basically have to go all in or die, and that is pretty much what we're seeing here. Akumar is trying to kind of skirt the edge, go in and out with his grunts, but they're just getting killed because they don't win the range war. They have more speed, but that's about it. It's funny that literally a few years ago, this would have been a completely different story. Pawns would have been absolutely dominating this matchup. Grunts were in a really, really sorry state. And now you could kind of argue that it's the opposite way around. These pawns just don't even close range enough and get absolutely destroyed by these grunts. Have to go all in. You can just see when they do go all in, they stay on top of those grunts. As long as Akumar doesn't pull them away, that is. Meanwhile, in the base, we see Raider has transitioned over to vehicles here. The land is predominantly flat. There's no real terrain you need to pass over as such, so relatively decent choice here. Still going ahead with his energy productions is a little far behind when it look at the difference between him and Akumar. It's pretty close though, and with all these con turrets, it's gonna go up pretty quickly. You can see him actually building them on purpose as well. Metal production is fairly even at the moment, but the fact that Akumar's commander is down here, getting what is the equivalent of Akumar's mexes is relatively important. However, Raider does have full control over the center here. He has only built 3 of the 4 metal extractors, but with now a forward bot lab in position, so he's going to make it more difficult for Raider to take back this center area. And the longer this gets left, the worse it's going to be. Raider, though, does go in and try and get some of these mexes. He does get the metal extractors, takes a single LLT out, and then calls it a day. So we select some form of build power. 350 worth of metal here, or 400 actually, if you include that extra 60. So, and it's about to become more as these pawns pile on this tank. No pounders out in, well, in position at least to stop this. pawns did make a breakthrough, and the problem is they've run into the most amount of LLTs that he was not expecting, and these pawns just get obliterated. And now Centurion running into a tank problem. Pounder's very, very strong at the moment. I don't exactly know what's changed, because I'm pretty sure they haven't had any balance changes at all. But all the pro players pretty much using them now. A little bit of missed micro here with how Radar controlled those units. Not paying attention. He has gone air and is actually getting the high ground metal extractors, which is very good, really, because, you know, Akumar has no way of dealing with this. Also, Akumar now with no factory in his base whatsoever. This means that, as we saw with a recent game with Barcast or Bison, where you position your factory does matter. And if your opponent manages to get round that factory, it's going to be difficult to defend, because you're going to have to run units basically past the attackers in order to get to defend your base. And these is not a favorable trade at all here. But as we look here, so for example, if Raider sends units this way, or manages to break through here, circumventing the factory, he can take out all the energy generation of Akumar, and then that's it. Akumar has nothing here to defend this base. It is all down to the fact that he has to control this line. If he controls this line and continues to be able to apply pressure to Raider, it's fine. However, this is a bit of a ballsy play here, really. Also, with the choice of bots here, I know that's what Akumar had available to him, but we'll see how that plays off. Already starting to be in a potential problem here, as we see a decent group of 12 tanks here, and nothing really to stop them. Fat Boy has arrived and will slowly whittle down those defenses. The Welder's come in from behind, but Welder's not really made for this purpose. Better at dealing with spam, and I wouldn't really call medium assault tanks as spam. There's an interesting map layout, because right now you can see that the map's kind of like this. So although Radar owns more of the top and bottom, Akumar holds more of the center. And an interesting unit composition here. We see from Akumar, WEBBER's, Fat Boy, AA, which is fine, and the radar jammers. There's also the spy bot here. In an attempt to, he's expecting the units to go in on him. He's probably going to then try and EMP it, and then these guys will then keep them EMP'd. Which is why you can see he's positioning them behind the EMP bot. Problem is here is if the Fat Boy just friendly fires, or the Tsar gets a shot off, Webber's doing fairly well here. But the second Tsar comes out just in time to stop the Tsar being EMP'd. Does manage to take out a Tiger and most of the Tech 1 forces of Radar, but not that big a deal in the end of the world here. 2 gunslingers and some welders with a combined force of sprinters and platypuses for some reason. Do manage to clear out that center spot. And Radar just needs more units, really, right now. He's struggling from a deficiency of units. Those Webbers did a decent job of whittling down the Tech 1 force, and although these guys will do a decent job at damaging this Tech 2 army, not enough to kill it, especially piling in one by one. Although there is a Tsar in position, and a lot of this stuff will pretty much get one hit by the Tsar. Not only that, shurikens. So that's the reason for the platypus is to counter any shurikens. Good choice. Not only that, but these Webbers are able to reclaim all of this metal while already fighting. And 1.5k metal is definitely needed. Metal produced is advantage Raider at this point, but all of the rest of the numbers are on the blue end. Tsar just trying to pepper the front line here, but with sniper bots now appearing, the Tsar's going down pretty quickly. And this is not looking good for Raider. Akumar doing exactly what he needs to do, applying pressure from this factory position. Oh no, we have a welder and a gunslinger versus a Tsar. Are they even the same metal? 1,000 versus 1,650? No. And here they go. Up, positioning the world on the opposite side here to get flanking damage. Oh, the dodge. And the second dodge, meaning that Akumar was able to kill the Tsar. Keeps the gunslinger alive, and now the gunslinger's repair kicking off straight away. And you can see just how quickly this thing is healing up. And it's a shame we don't see them very often, but that is a fun unit to play with, and is already now ready to continue pushing down here and clearing up some of that mess. Now, one thing that Akumar needs to be careful about is not going too much into snipers. Oh, the EMP. Great EMP. Everything is stunned. And here comes the second fiber. Oh, but he accidentally EMP'd his own factory because he had both of them selected. Oopsie. I'm surprised that we don't see a Tech 1 factory here, just spamming out ticks to provide vision. Instead, he's going for sprinters and the spy bots, which is fine. Just not what I'd expect. Well, especially when we look at Akumar right now, and we can see that he's got almost 4k metal in the bank. Just surprised he's not going for Bot Lab Tech 1. We select his build queue, we can actually see he's got 2 EMP bots, 5 snipers, and 300 welders. Oh, and interestingly, we actually see Akumar here building a bunch of titles in an effort to supplement his energy income. So if he does lose the factory, that's not the end of the world. And we actually now also see a air factory being built in the main base here. And the spectators are like, oh, something's cooking. No, I'm pretty sure he's just upgrading his eco. That's all with the air lab. Oh, but see, this is the problem we were talking about, though. This is a substantial group of forces are now past the front line of Akumar. Akumar hasn't moved his forces yet. Does he even know they're there? Barely. Akumar with limited vision here. I'm surprised he doesn't have a radar. He does have a radar there. Oh, but the radar jammer, duh. And the Banisher and tanks will now make their way through this. Oh, that Banisher missile missed entirely. These Tigers are just going to push through these LLTs super quick. And what can Raider do to stop this? Nothing. Raider calls the GG. Not Raider, sorry. Akumar calls the GG. Akumar realizing it's pretty much too late. To be fair, Akumar kind of right. So the problem is that I can't really show you because I can't for some reason move this blooming screen out. This force was easily just going to push through, wipe out the majority of the energy income of Akumar, and it would have been game then anyway. His sniper bots needed energy to fire. Without that, his army was basically useless. So, although we don't get to see the pretty explosions, fair play to Akumar for resigning there. Raider did a good fight. And yeah, there we go. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hype, and all of that YouTube malarkey. And I'll see you all next time.